Okay everybody, welcome back to another episode of Surrounded by Bourbon with me, Phil Crawford, aka Causeway Whisky. This is episode 28 and tonight we are looking at something from the Isle of Islay in Scotland, and we have the Bunnahabhain 12-year-old cask strength. This is the 2023 release. So what about Bunnahabhain? This is a distillery and a village that is located in the northeast of the Isle of Islay, and it's a very picturesque distillery, which the name means in Gaelic the foot of the river, which is very accurate because the distillery and the village are actually located at the foot of the Margadale River. I've probably said that wrong, and some people on Islay can correct me. Hopefully it was right, maybe not. Anyway, the distillery itself was built in 1881 and the village was actually built to accommodate the distillery workers. It's not a huge distillery in terms of production or capacity. It makes around 3.8 million litres of pure alcohol a year, and it is a little unusual in Islay in that it is predominantly making unpeated spirit. So obviously Islay is known as a place of smoke bombs, and it is a peat head's haven of whisky production. So Bunnahabhain, most of their production is unpeated. Now you can get peated bunnas. The official bottlings are known as the Moina. I believe that is correct. And then unofficially with independent bottlings you will find it is called a Stoisha. They also do have sometimes heavily peated expressions as well, and for the life of me, off the top of my head, I cannot remember what you called those. Now the distillery itself is well known for the fact that most of their production is matured in sherry casks of some description, and whenever you look at the special releases or the limited editions, they're often matured in fortified wine casks or wine casks of some type. So I did have an absolutely crazy special edition a few years ago that was like a 14-year-old that had been double matured in Oloroso and PX sherry casks. It was an absolute sherry bomb, very one-sided but an absolute delight. But the 12-year-old is kind of held up as one that's a very well balanced, well structured whiskey. So let's see how the cask strength compares to that. I will at some point actually just review the normal core range one. So anyway, yeah, 2023 edition. The 2023 was actually a kind of interesting year for the distillery as well, because it changed ownership, with CVH Spirits taking over the reins from the previous owners Distell, and they also took over the running of the Deanston and Tobermory distilleries from Distell. So what's in the bottle then? So this is a 12-year-old cask strength single malt from Islay, so 100% malted barley mash bill. It's bottled at 60.1% ABV or 120.2 proof. Now the regular price for this was around $110 or £85 or 98 euros. I managed to get this in my local Total Wine for $76.99 or £60.25, 73 euros. So that's actually kind of not much more expensive than the regular 12-year-old, which I think over here is around $70 thereabouts. So let's see how the Bunnahabhain 2023 12-year-old cask strength goes. How do I like it? Let's see. So nose-wise, straight away you're just hit by fudge and vanilla. Then there's like barley sugar, there's some dried apricots, there's a hazelnut kind of nuttiness to it. There's some linseed oil, a little bit of coastal salinity. There's kind of like mahogany, musty leather, some rancio notes, but there's also like tropical fruit in there as well. There's like grilled pineapples and clementines. And what I'm amazed about at the strength is that there is absolutely no alcohol burn off this nose, like none whatsoever. So the alcohol is super well integrated. Now, before I go into the palate, if I look at the colour, I mean, this is not super dark for sherry cask maturation, so I'm imagining that this has seen a lot of refills, second fill casks, which probably is a good thing. Means that we're not going to be super overwhelmed by the sherry casks. The legs on this are very thick. Okay, palate. So again, what kind of like the nose, you would not believe you're drinking something that is 60% or 120 proof. There is practically zero alcohol burn with this. Very well integrated for the ABV. Not as oily as I thought it was going to be, but it's pretty thick and chewy. But anyway, immediately again you're getting that kind of grilled pineapple and peaches note. There's dried apricots, a hint of maraschino cherry. Now we're getting like candied hazelnuts, flecked almonds, all butter Danish pastries. There's like a mulled wine spice mix, so think like cinnamon, clove, anise, orange peel, brown sugar. As you kind of chew on it, there's now like milk chocolate and raisins coming through as well. And then towards the end, there's a lovely leathery note with a sprinkling of sea salt. Really good stuff. Finish wise, before I add water, it's a medium to long finish. There's a lot of malt, it's biscuity again, sherry, it's tropical fruit, all kind of just dusted with a little hint of salinity just at the back. So nice stuff. So let's see now, a little bit of water. 60%, this could probably take a bit of water, to be honest. I'll not go crazy. It's kind of sometimes easy to ruin your whiskey with too much water. So let's see. I reckon that's probably about a teaspoon of water. And so straight away with the water added, there's like salted caramel, there's heathery honey now, and the dark dried fruits of like sultanas, raisins, dates, that's kind of been amplified as well in the nose now. Great stuff. With the addition of water, there is actually a little bit more spice. So the clove kind of becomes a little more dominant with that kind of clove rock heat. But then you start getting those sherried fruit notes. It kind of becomes like literally like a liquid Christmas cake. And the tropical notes are still there as well. So you're still getting like that pineapple. There's orchard fruit with peach. And it's still sort of medium to long again. So one last sip before I give this a score. very drinkable stuff. Okay, score wise, I am going to give this also an 8 out of 10. So 2 8s in a row. That's pretty good going for me. So again, final thoughts. You know, what I like about this is that it is not a complete and utter one-dimensional sherry bomb. Maybe compared to something like Abelura Bunna or the Glenfarclas 105, something of that ilk. So the Bunnahabhain fruitiness shines through, but again, it's just backed up with extra layers of complexity from the sherry casks. Honestly, for the price that I've paid for it of $77, I would probably give this a 9, but I always base this on the price that it should have been listed at, so $110. So that's why it's staying at an 8 out of 10. But to be honest, even at $110 or £85, this is fantastic value for money. I know the 2025 edition is still available on the Bunnahabhain website, so probably something to consider if you're wanting to try this, and definitely worth the extra money compared to the regular 12. So anyway, excellent stuff from Bunnahabhain and excellent pricing, which in the world that we're in at the minute is something that we should always be considering. But yeah, there you go, great stuff from Bunnahabhain. Look forward to the next review, which will be something American. And in the meantime, have a great evening. Please like, subscribe, comment, share if you want to. Please help me grow the channel. Hopefully you enjoy the content, and I will see you again next time. Sláinte one and all. Have a good one.